Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to continue our lesson on intercollegiate football. So yesterday we talked about kind of the origins of football and how it started. Then we talked about how technology changed, uniforms changed to make the sport a little better. So today we're going to talk about the continued transition. Um, Football originally had a free flow style soccer like gameplay where it's like if the ball went down, the other team picks it up and they start moving. They can pass the ball, flip it backwards, whatever it may be. Um, and then this guy named Walter Camp had an idea about the line of scrimmage. Make sure you put a note in your notes or like a star in your notes about Walter Camp. There's definitely going to be at least one and maybe even two questions about him on your test. He was an original Yale football player and coach, and he introduced the idea of the line of scrimmage, which allows players to block out who had the ball and allowed offensive plays to develop. So if you are unfamiliar with the line of scrimmage, that is the men up front, in front of the quarterback and the running back in the center part of the field. And when the ball is snapped, it comes from the line of scrimmage to the quarterback. And essentially, they are responsible for protecting the quarterback and the ball to let the play develop downfield, or they block for the running back. This was Walter Camp's idea. So when ball control created a boring and oftentimes scoreless game, Walter Camp introduced the concept of downs and yardage. So back then, you would just go and go and go and go until there was either a turnover or a touchdown, and it got very boring after a while. So Walter Camp created the idea of downs. So in football, there are 4 downs, and you have to go 10 yards in those 4 downs in order to get another down. If you do not go that 10 yards in the 4 downs, then you turn the ball over to the other team. So this creates a back and forth type game where one team can't just hold the ball for the whole game. So the organized violence of football used to draw very large crowds, just like when we talked about ancient sports, how the gladiator arenas in Rome drew large crowds because of the violence. This game was much more violent. Players were allowed to punch. So they were allowed to punch up to 3 times before being ejected, which is kind of crazy. But they were also allowed to kick, trip, and headbutt. None of those are legal in today's game, and actually if you make head-to-head contact, that is grounds for an ejection in a modern-day football game. So here's how scoring was. You had a touchdown, which was worth 6 points. Touchdowns are still worth 6 points today. You could kick a field goal, which was worth 5 points. Today, field goals are only worth 3 points. You could kick a PAT, which is a point after try. That's what PAT stands for, which was worth 4 points. So if you scored a touchdown and kicked the PAT, it would be worth 10 points. Whereas today, the PAT is only worth 1 point. So that's why we traditionally think that a touchdown is worth 7 points. In 1885, impartial referees were added to the game, replacing volunteer alumni. And by adding the impartial referees, you eliminate bias when the rules are being enforced. So the first national championship was in 1893 when Princeton played Yale, and what it was billed as the national championship. It wasn't an official national championship. That's just how it was promoted. Over 40,000 spectators showed up from the game that took place in New York, and people traveled from as far as Oregon and Texas. So if you're traveling from Oregon to New York, that is, 3,000 plus miles to watch a football game, and that should show you how important football would go on to be. There was a 4-hour parade before the event, even though there was a severe economic depression in 1893. Princeton won the game, but Yale would be retroactively named the national champion because they finished their season 10-1. I think Princeton was only like 7-4 or something like that. So what I would like you to do is put a note or put a star next to that note because that is also on your test. Here is a picture from the game. You can see how much different football looked back then. And so that's where we'll stop today, guys. Make sure that If you have any questions, just send me an email. I'd be more than happy to answer them. I hope you all have a great day, and I hope to see you soon.